The first three topics we already discussed. Today we'll discuss topic 4, which is about stoichiometry, and which in this you will learn about empirical formula, molecular formula, moles, the concept of the moles. So first thing, use the symbol of the element and write the formula. How we work out the formula of the compound? Simply what we use the valencies. And what are the valencies we use? According to the group number, we check the valency. Like group 1 is there, group 2, group 3, group 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Group 1 +1, +2, +3. It can be +4 or -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. So if I want to write the formula for, say, sodium chloride, so to write a formula of sodium chloride, sodium belongs to group 1 and chlorine belongs to group 7. So sodium valency is +1, chlorine valency is -1. First we simplify the valency, but it is already simplified. So we just have to cross multiply, then the formula of sodium chloride will be NaCl. If you are finding a formula for calcium chloride, so calcium is there group 2 and chlorine is there group 7. So just cross multiply. Just cross multiply, so it will be CaCl2 because it is already simplified. The first step, simplify the valency, the simplest whole number ratio, and then cross multiply. Deduce the formula of a simple compound from the relative number of atoms. So, like example, if we say a compound contains 3 aluminum atoms and it contains 1 chloride atom, or a compound contains 1 chloride atom and 3 aluminum atom and 3 chloride atoms. So, what will the formula? So, you should be able to deduce that formula by number of the atoms present. The state symbols are important. Constructing equation with a state symbol include ionic equations as well. So first thing, metals except mercury all are solid. Aqueous like salt solutions, acids, or soluble salt solutions, acid, alkalis, they are all aqueous. Non-metal, most of the non-metal are in a gaseous state except like bromine is there, which is in a liquid state. To complete an equation, you should identify the type of the reaction. Like example, the first one, when acid is reacting with an alkali, like here, when you work out and you want to complete an equation, so acid is reacting with an alkali. So when acid is reacting with an alkali, the product is salt and water. And salt means the compound when hydrogen of an acid is replaced by the metal, the compound formed is known as a salt. So it will form NaCl, sodium chloride, plus water H2O. Then the state symbols, because HCl is an acid, so that's why aqueous. Sodium hydroxide is an alkali, aqueous. Sodium chloride, you have to recall that table about the solubility of the salt. Um, all nitrates are soluble, most chlorides are soluble except silver, mercury, and lead. Most sulfates are also soluble except barium, calcium, and lead. And most carbonates are insoluble except ammonium, sodium, and potassium. So to write an ionic equation, what we do, we cancel out the common ions. As you can clearly see, like in aqueous, we have a chloride ion common, so chloride ion cancel with chloride, and sodium ion cancel with sodium. So what we are left with? We are left with H plus and OH minus gives H2O. Only in aqueous one you will dissociate them into ions and cancel out the common ions. Deduce the formula of a simple compound from a diagrammatic representation. Like example, sometimes structure is given and you have to identify the formula. So if I say a compound is there, NH, this a structure is given and you have to deduce a formula of this compound. So how you can deduce the formula of the compound? It contains one nitrogen and three hydrogen. So one nitrogen, three hydrogen, then it will be NH3. So from the structure, you should be able to identify the or predict the formula. Deduce the balance equation for a chemical reaction and given a relevant information. So balancing part we already discussed this. Like if hydrogen is reacting with chlorine and it is forming hydrogen chloride. So for normal equation, when you start balancing, you start with oxygen followed by hydrogen and then other element for normal equation. But for combustion equation, start with carbon followed by hydrogen at the last oxygen. You can start, this is not like a fixed rule that you should start. It's just to make a easy way to balance. In combustion, we start with carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and other equations we start with oxygen, hydrogen, and any other element. So here hydrogen react with chlorine from HCl. So we have to balance hydrogen, so we put 2. Hydrogen is balanced and chlorine are already balanced. So you can see when I try to balance hydrogen, the whole equation is balanced. So it is just making it easy to. How we know the reaction is combustion? If a reaction involves oxygen as a reactant, like burning, if one of the reactant is oxygen, then you will categorize that reaction as combustion, oxidation or combustion. One of the reactants should be oxygen. Then the definition of a relative atomic mass. It's a mass of element which is compared with the 12th part of carbon 12, and sum of relative atomic masses will give us the molecular mass. I'll share another link because less than a minute left.